Hello, ma'am.
Hello, how are you?
Good,
So
ma'am.
Gitanjali was also wondering where I am. I said I'm in Anand's office. So now it's more quiet and comfortable. So anyhow, let's get started. The I'm things are converging and converging to a better place. I also had a talk with Dr. Ambika Kameshwar. I mean, not a talk, but an email text exchange. So one of the things, because everyone here, I think, is familiar with the RAISE. So since you're all in the RAISE program, you know that RAISE is really an implementation of theatre arts for holistic development. And I asked Dr. Ambika, what exactly is it that we should be doing to call ourselves TAHD? So I just wanted that clarification from a practice perspective, because there are outcomes, there are so many things in TAHD. But I said, if I want to claim that I'm doing TAHD, what should I be doing? So she said that basically the 4EEs method, if you're following the 4EEs in a structured way, you're doing TAHD. So I said that makes it cleaner, because otherwise I've been like most of us, we've been on so many, we have used so many approaches, so many things. So what exactly sets this apart, right? So I thought then I should probably start with the 4Es today and then talk about some other things, because I think we can just consistently follow 4Es. It's a very useful method. At the heart of the 4Es, the first is enjoyment. And that itself caught my attention, because when we are dealing with neurodivergent learners, nobody's thinking about enjoyment, right? I mean, most of us, how do we learn, right? If I'm not enjoying something, I don't really learn. At least I don't, right? I mean, we may somehow get through the exam, but we may not learn. So enjoyment, I think, is really important for anything in life. So enjoyment is at the core of the 4Es. Then you have exploration. Exploration means trying things out. So an example I can give is when we first started with Ujjwal on the Bharatanatyam, the TAHD way, what we noticed was he was very taken by the stories. So he will just wait for Ujjwal to start the Hasta stories. And whenever, it started, he'll be looking with great attention. So we knew that this was interesting to him. And then he himself said he wanted to narrate that story. So that's some indication. So then we started exploring storytelling more, right? So in the exploratory stage, we don't exactly know how it's going to go. Again, I started with enjoyment, and the next one is exploration. Now, exploration means we are starting something, it's new, we don't really know quite how it's going to work, right? So when we, a good example is when we started the music. So just before Ramanotsavam, Ujjwal was inviting Anand to participate. He said, do some dance, do some music, do you want to do essay writing? Like that. Surprisingly, Anand said no to dance. He said he was very tired after the annual day. He said, no dance. I'm not going to do dance. But then he was more willing to try music. He's not a singer. He has played piano for 10 years, but he's not a singer. But he said he'll try that. And so he started singing. And you're all familiar with how the singing happens in the race class, right? There's a lot of movement with it. Like, so when you're doing dawn is rising, there's always movement, very gentle movements that help communicating the meanings also.
No,
So
ma'am, it's okay now.
it's okay now? Okay, so maybe I'll leave the door open.
Yeah,
Worst comes to us, I'll have to dash
yeah, yeah.
upstairs and boot from the dance hall, I guess. So the so when you try the exploration, so again, this was a place where we thought this was good. We thought that the music seems interesting. And again, it started the exploration process, right? Now,
Don't
once
bother, ma'am. It's okay, ma'am. It's open na door. It's okay,
so
ma'am.
you can hear, no? Okay. So you
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah. Don't bother.
So if you start exploring, then we are now, I would say, in what I would call more of the experience. By now, we know that this music is working well. And something else also happened. Ujjwal actually suggested a song to him which has piano notation. So they don't have the piano notation for many songs. They had, for this Padigam songs, they had the piano notation. He knew Anant is a piano player, so he gave him that one. So then, since we did one, then we've actually moved on to the second, and now we are working on the third piece. So Anant also went and spoke to his keyboard teacher. The keyboard teacher was very willing to work with him on that. So he's actually, progressing with that. So what I'm saying is this is whole exploratory phase, right? I mean, it was just something that Ujjwal suggested. Then it turned out that I really liked the fact that there were very gentle movements with it. Anant was somehow resisting dance a little bit. He's, I think, going through something. He doesn't want very vigorous dance. So he seems to be more, wanting to explore music. He's just got back into piano. Piano place is right opposite here. So it was all this exploratory phase, and we sort of got into it. Then comes the more of the experience. Now we know how this works, right? So every class. So I told Ujjwal also, I said, Anant is showing more interest in music and wanting to cut back on dance. So actually now what has happened is the Ujjwal's class has become a completely raised class. So I call ours the raise advanced. So he's, it's shifted from Bharatanatyam, and it was actually never a pure Bharatanatyam class, but now it's shifted into something entirely different. So we start with sloka. It's become very much like a race class. So we start with sloka. Then there are only two dances he's doing. Then we spend a good bit of time, like 15 minutes on singing with, all this movement and all that. He wants to learn the Ashtotra. So he's doing that. And so the class has totally shifted. So what I'm wanting to say is TAHD is actually very flexible, right? It's not, no traditional Bharatanatyam class will evolve like this, right? So it's really evolved in a very different way because of what he's showing interest in and what is clicking. And other things have evolved. See, dance means I will sit it out, right? I'm sitting in the corner. I don't know dance, so I'm just going to sit in the corner. Now, singing the simple songs like, the dawn is rising, those kind of things, we all can try. I may not be a great singer, but we can sing together. So what has happened is the class has also changed in that way. So we both sing together. We both participate in the sloka and chanting together. We participate. I tried just the adavas because I said, Ujjwal, I'm going to join for the adavas because it'll help teach the race class also. So if you look at the class now, it's entirely different. The experience has completely changed. That has also changed the practice. So what has happened to the practice is when we come and sit down, I'm no longer saying, Anant, practice your dance, right? So I'm sitting down, I'm saying the sloka with him. We are singing together, no pressure on him. We both sing. We both say the sloka. So no pressure on him. So the practice has totally changed. Only the two dances he does on his own. So the rest we adjust. So it's become a very co-regulatory experience. We just both sit down and do it together. So see how this whole thing shifts, right? And so that is a pretty typical TAHD, and it leads with enjoyment because we are finding that he's enjoying music more right now than he's enjoying dance. He's pushing back against dance. He's also loving writing. So we are trying to pair up storytelling with writing. So if he's practicing his story, his last Fun with Hastas, Ala Padmasta just came out yesterday. So now the way we are doing is we are making him write because of the Ramanotsavam essay contest, which I was very surprised he won the bronze prize there because I didn't even know he could write that fast, think and, write in an hour and a half. So I felt like we need to develop that skill. So we have now paired writing with storytelling. Since the voice was cutting in and out, quickly recapping, we start with enjoyment. And since we are finding that Anant is showing a lot of interest in music and not as interested in dance at this point, the whole class is being restructured. We are doing more music, little less dance. Practice has totally shifted because with the singing, he's singing some devotional songs with movement, which I can join him in. He's still very interested in storytelling, but because of the essay writing now, writing has become a daily part of our experience. So you can see that in just by, that one experience of participating in Ramanotsavam, it's been like, total shift. So I'm very, very happy. The award is not the main thing. I think it's really given us a lot of input on what he is connecting to and what he wants to do more of. If he had not done the Ramanotsavam, we would never have known that this is probably where we should be going. So I think trying the different experiences and knowing what's really resonating for them is important. And I think that is at the heart of TAHD. It's not a rigid process. So it leads with enjoyment. And I think the way we can think about this is there has to be enjoyment for the parent and child, both. And so if you keep that in mind, and then that it's exploratory, because we don't know, the TAHD theater is vast. So what is going to click for anyone, we don't know. Then we come to experience, and then finally expression. So expression is your own unique way of bringing something out, right? So if you think about it, Anand started saying this white peacock story a long time ago. So when their own expression comes, that's when we know that this is really clicking, how they are thinking about it. And it's really funny. He will keep coming and telling Ujjwal about some dinosaur and how he saw the dinosaur in the museum, and how Ramana Tata would not even be afraid of a dinosaur. And it's so funny. I saw how Ujjwal taught him the Kriti last time, and he's teaching a serious Bharatanatyam piece, and he's telling him, "Oh, Ramana Tata's taking care of everyone. He's even taking care of the T-Rexes." And Anant is going on about maybe there is even life on other planets, and Ujjwal is saying maybe he's even taking care of those. So it's really kind of funny how I don't think it looks like any other Bharatanatyam classes you have ever seen, but it's that whole thing, because that's the hook, for him, and he's really elaborating on however he's thinking about it. And that's how the essay happened, actually, because what he wrote about was all the different places he has been to and how he thinks about Ramana when he goes to those places. So it's really very dynamic, and I think they're more engaged, and that expression. So I think what is happening as a guide, Ujjwal is tuned into what Anant is saying. He's seeing that he keeps talking about dinosaurs and talking about other things. And so even as a dance lesson, he's bringing those things in for him. And so that keeps the hook. And then so Anant's very engaged with the process. So I think there are the 4 E's, but the key point I would like to suggest to parents is think of the 4 E's for the child and for the parent. So start with the 4 E's for the guide, because the child may initially not be interested, right? They may not be enjoying it. So if you look at how Ujjwal does the class, or any THD person will do the class, it always looks like he's enjoying it, whether or not we are checked in or checked out. He's always seems to be enjoying the class, right? And not bothered by what anybody is doing. He'll just invite people, they join, they don't join, they don't join. So I think that is a very important thing, because if we don't enjoy, then you can't motivate anybody else to enjoy when we are not enjoying. So one idea that comes to my mind is, when we're looking at enjoyment, first of all, we have to be enjoying it ourselves. And then, look, the expression on the learner side gives you a lot of insight into what we can do. So if Anand is talking about dinosaurs, then Ujjwal has some idea how to make it more, enjoyable for him, right? So those 4, think about the 4. So this is the activity I would like to suggest for the week. Make 2 columns, the 4 E's for yourself, the 4 E's for, and I can create a little worksheet after the session, and take any activity and try to break it down by the 4 E's. And I think that will give you some insight as to how this is working. So what I'm thinking of for the entire 100-day project is to go by these 4 E's. And then I thought about it, whether I do grammar or whether I do, the DSRP or whatever. Why did homeschooling work? Even though I didn't have the 4 E's explicitly, I was actually following the 4 E's, right? Because we were enjoying, like when we were making distinctions, we would go around and make distinctions between things, or organize into systems, or all of this was done in a very fun way. And in fact, Dr. Cabrera shares a story about his father, who used to take, salt, pepper, shaker, and this and that, and talk about concepts and relate them and so on. So that's how he got into the whole thing, right? So enjoyment was kind of built into it. Exploratory, we never had any rigid ideas about this is how we'll do this. So we were always willing to explore, and if something worked, that became more of our experience. And then we had the expression. So these were always, in all our successful experiences, the 4 E's were there, but we just were not aware of it. So what Dr. Ambika told me was, think of TAHD as a conscious application of the 4E's. Means we are deliberate about the application of the 4E's so that we can apply it in a structured way and measure it. Okay, so if you start, so let's reflect on this next week. Take one activity, try to apply the 4E's. So for example, in my case, what is happening is Anant and I, one part of the practice is the music. Both of us are just singing together, no pressure on anyone. I don't sing well at all. I have never been trained in singing. We just sing together. We just have fun. Done. He can work on the dance more with more precision because he may perform it somewhere. But music, we are just enjoying it, right? So the enjoyment, then exploration. We're just exploring together to see what happens. And then, it's now becoming pretty stable. We are actually practicing every day. And, the expression, however that takes shape. So I think we have a little bit of time. And I just wanted to invite, whoever has tried, Gitanjali, Manju, Monica, and Suchita, whoever wants to speak, about how you have tried. At this point, you can just share what you have practiced. And then, if you can make some connection to the 4E's, fine. But otherwise, go back and then after the session, think about it and try to connect it to the 4E's. So, Gitanjali.
And what is 4E?
One is for enjoyment is sort of at the center. That's the core. One is exploration when we're trying something, right? Because we're just experimenting with music, not sure whether Anant is interested. But then it's looking like he is connecting to that devotional music with movement. Then experience. Once we have figured out that this is working, we get into it. We are just immersed in it. And then expression, however it's coming. Another example is mandala. We just, it was just a hunch because Anant has been folding circles for a long time. So I just had a hunch he might like mandala. I got a few sheets and there it actually moved very quickly from exploration to experience because he was just sitting there and, just immersed in it. Like he was just taking color after color and just into it. And I said, okay, this is really is right for him. So sometimes you'll move from exploration to experience very, very fast if it's the right thing. And sometimes it might take a long time. And he was very expressive with it because he just had his own color choice. Everybody has said, they look at his mandalas and they say, I don't know how he comes up with these colors because I think our children are very observant. So I think he keeps noticing colors in nature, noticing colors in attire, everything he notices. So he just comes up with these color schemes. So that is his own creative expression. And we can see that he's enjoying it. So I think if you just start going through the day, thinking about everything through the 4E's, I think you will also see how to improve the practice of whatever you're doing. So if you can quickly share. So Gitanjali, I know that you've been practicing for a while, and then Monica, Manju, if you can all share. So Gitanjali, I don't know if you want to share about, about dawn is rising or any other activity.
See, ma'am, first, whatever activity, especially when it comes to singing or music, first I sing a lot. We sing a lot at home. So Mihir get used to that things and all. Then I start. If I ask Mihir, let us sing, then he'll get upset. Though I give him all the filling the blanks. First sentence me and second, Mihir, come on. And maybe enjoy and expression I do a lot.
Yeah.
I think Mihir is.
I think that's a key point because, he's probably seeing you enjoy it. So if he's seeing you enjoy it, and that's the same thing we see in the race class, right? It looks like Ujjwal is always enjoying what he's doing. It doesn't look like he's trying to pressure us into anything. So that's probably why then he slowly gets into it. Yeah.
He'll get very offended if I say, this is your job, let us do. No. Very slowly, after lots of enjoyment expression, then he will give little experience. When I give fill in the blanks after 2-3 sentences, Mihir, then he'll give his word. Then slowly we'll build up. He will, first we'll start with 2-3 words blanks, then sentence by sentence, then like that.
Oh, okay.
Especially I cannot force him. He's the boss.
Yeah, interesting. So it looks like, you're already sort of See, I think if it's working, you're probably already implicitly doing the 4Es, but I think just becoming more aware of it and doing it more consciously, I think you'll get more, better results. Because
But ma'am, I'm getting a feeling like we are not getting opportunity to explore because my boss is very strict.
yeah. Yeah, that's
So I think we should work on explore area. I should think what
actually
to
it is a
do.
very interesting observation that you're making, because I think with autistics, I think the exploration may be a challenge because they resist novelty. So that is where the RDI comes in, relationship development intervention. We worked so much on just noticeable differences, which you seem to be doing, just making those little changes. And I think that is how we get more into exploration. So it's interesting. And that's something to reflect on too. Where do you have more, for Anant, maybe until recently, the more of the challenge would have been expression, but now he's, getting to be very expressive. So that also changes.
Ma'am, so I think if we talk about the 4Es, ma'am, because we have done a lot of RDI ourselves, and we thought that there was still a few gaps which was there, and although RDI has given us a huge ma'am leap of where we were, because in terms of relationship that we have, that we are able to work together a lot. So now, but there was no structure to it, and maybe because of what this thing gives us is the race classes, and the way Anand comes in and you come in. So now we have a face, ma'am, like, we can talk to you, we can ask. Now we have Anant, so which he's like almost like a role model, because children look up to him. Ujjal Anna definitely is very silent, very soft spoken. So I think personally I have learned a lot how to and handle things, and I think overall the house has become quiet. Like, with this there's a huge paradigm shift which has happened. I feel there was a time when we were doing fat activities, do this, do that, everybody was talking, everybody was commanding, everybody was too much of talking in the house, too much of instruction. Now all that has come down. So what has happened is, not even me, even my elder son Jayant is also calmer now. So why it has happened is, now suppose we have these activities, like, whatever we are doing, like, suppose, so basically Daksh has taken up to the stories and he has taken up to the songs. So what we do is, we do I will skip the enjoyment in the beginning, I'll tell you why. And we will go one by one. So exploration was always tough. We were exploring too many things, causing too much of anxiety and too much of not noticeable changes, too much of changes, and not understanding how much of anxiety it is causing to the child. Now, ma'am, you come in, Anand comes in, Ujjalana comes in with a structure in place and say, this is what you have to explore. So it has already been given to us in a plate, like, how you get prasad. I feel that you're blessed to have received it, that you have to do this in a structured and worksheets. Every day you will send something, ma'am. It's incredible. Like, and as you said, even if one life, two lives are being changed because of Ujjal Anna and Anant and you, our lives is worth it. And I feel, I'm sure all the other parents will also feel, including Daksh and we, definitely, ma'am, our families and lives have changed because of the effort that has gone from your three of your sides over 1 year. So now we have a structure, we have the stories that comes, we have the songs. Now you all have already done it, you all have already learned from your mistakes, and you all are giving it to us in a refined format. Recorded videos are coming, scripts are coming, how to go step by step is coming. It cannot get better than this, ma'am. So in terms of exploration, we know exactly what we have to explore, and in a slow pace. Now how I do it with Daksh is, exploration we are doing, but looking at Ujjal Anna and how you do your practice sessions, there is no demand on Daksh to perform, because of which he is sustained. Otherwise, there would have been an activity like Gitanjali, as you would have said, possibly with Daksh, especially, who is very strong-headed boy, he would have said, no, I don't want to do it. If there was ever a demand for, like, so now there is only repetition. Every day we will do the Dawn is Rising song. Consistency is important. We do the songs and the story every day without fail, and shlokas. We don't, there is not a day when we don't do it, apart from the days when we can't. But we do it in our own space, that 10-15 minutes. Only we sing, he repeats. Now that is exploration. Now you said about experience, right? Now what is experience coming? Now there are two children who are coming. There's one Daksh and there's Chaturdeep. So now what happens is, they are once we say the children are talking to each other. Like they repeat, one person repeats, the other person imitates, one person repeats, the other person sings, and it's written down. The song, I've written it down to them, so there's no more demand on this also. And therefore, they are reading it out and doing it. It is going on like this. At least 10-15 minutes, they're feeling that sense of achievement that, okay, I know it, like I know it, like, and they are doing it together. Absolutely, they are doing it together, step by step, they are doing it. And they are progressing slowly, slowly, slowly. They are staying in the frameworks for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, where they have the printouts and they are reading the story, they are reading the song and the shlokas. So that is the, now expression, how the expression is coming, because they are expressing to each other, no, you made a mistake, or this is not correct, or not a mistake, like say it like this, and they are doing it together, or we are all doing it together. So the expression comes, right, and now enjoyment part. I think initially me as a parent was doing a lot, and I was in a high stress always. I used to tell ma'am, you remember, ma'am, that Daksh did this, Daksh threw this, Daksh that. I mean, I was like going crazy. Crazy is not the word. I was always on the eggshells, always. Now that thing has changed completely. There's so much of calmness overall. He like, then not only this, ma'am, things like ma'am said, few things that ma'am says is chores. Anand likes to do washing machine.
Yeah.
So if you listen to whatever ma'am you have said, and if you just take it, so what I started doing, I wake up early and cook in the morning and send Jens the tiffin, which he leaves at 7 o'clock. So Daksh wakes up early, Jen everybody in the house, both the boys will be awake at 5 o'clock. Earlier I would be like, Daksh, go, you do your work, I will do cooking. Then Daksh would not listen. So now what we have done is we do it together. My God, the amount he helps me. He will even pour the rice, he will
Yeah.
even cut vegetables. Like cooking for 4 people, 3 meals is not easy. But 1.5 hours, he will take that thing and we will work together. Two to three items we have, because I cook once. Because we are cooking a long things we are doing, lot of cooking we are doing. But if Daksh will wake up late, I'm like, I can't do today cooking because I don't have my helper. It's actually like this. He assists me like an adult now, and this also I learned from. But the enjoyment part I was missing out. Earlier also I would do, but it would be more like, do this, don't do this. I would be more process focused. It should be proper, it should be this thing. Now if something would fall from his hand, I would not scold him, I will gently. So I'm still learning that enjoyment part, but that enjoyment part is very, very important
Very
for the
important.
children to sustain.
See, partly why Anand
Sorry,
loves
ma'am. I
doing
think
that.
I took more time, but I covered everything, ma'am.
Yeah,
Like,
great. But I think that enjoyment part is very important. The reason Ananthus loves doing the laundry is I think he likes to take all the clothes. He'll climb up 2 steps with a bucket, hang up all the clothes. He's in the sunlight, he's getting sunshine, he's in the terrace, he's hanging them out. It's like he gravitates towards laundry always. And then he'll take all the clothes, go to the ironing guy. He has a little conversation with the ironing guy, gives it to him, brings the clothes back. Then he'll say, Amma, give me this much money. He'll take the money. One by one, he'll keep going. So, it's just giving him some way to be moving around and doing things. So I think we only have 2-3 minutes left. Manju, if you can share a quick update, and then we'll, I'll reflect and share some things afterwards.
Yeah, so first of all, I really love the 4E's because, see, to tell you the fact, from the starting of the journey, my journey has been a little different, wherein I had to do everything myself, homeschooling as well as therapies. So for me, it naturally came. For some reason, it naturally came. But I was never able to express it in 4E's and tell about it. It was so difficult. But it is so interesting to see that what I did was all about to 4E only.
Same
And
with
for
me.
the
I was
parents
doing the same
who are
thing in
not.
homeschooling. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were naturally doing it, but we didn't know that
Yeah.
we can name it like this. We can.
Yes.
I mean, I like the beauty of it when you try to give words to what we do naturally.
Yes.
That is actually beautiful. I see the same thing happening in play therapy and in RDI and in homeschooling, Waldorf way. All those are like syncing. They are all together.
Yeah.
If you see it nicely, then it is all together linked in. And if you ask me like how I am doing it right now, actually I'm you know that I'm doing TAHD professional course wherein I am in the second last stage. So I was actually struggling to understand how do I plan the lesson. So you gave me idea. Now I know how to plan the lesson.
So anyway,
Right now, what we are exploring, if you ask me, then right now, you know about all the projects which we are doing in the
yeah.
groups. So right now, what is happening is that Lavanya was not at all interested in Carnatic music. She did not wanted to sing. So I said, let's do it for other parents. Like other kids will also learn. Na? It will be so much fun. So she got ready and she started singing. And in the process of helping other parents to do Carnatic music, she has learned it. So it has worked for me like ulta. The whole thing has upside down. It has become for me. Like if she wants to help someone, then she wants to do it. Then in the process she will learn. So this is the way we are doing it. But that is also very interesting actually because even I am enjoying it. So all the 4 E's we are doing.
And
So
I think,
it's like
no, I think,
totally,
I think 4E's, and that's why I started a homeschooling group, because I think the 4E's are much easier in a homeschooling context. Because, you know, you're going to school and you're being pushed around for 6 hours, then you can't do 4E's at home also, because they're so burnt out
yes,
by the time they come home,
I
you know.
do see
So
parents struggling so much because of that.